Hey guys, making another top 10 list here. I'm here with my buddy Joe. He knows more about superhero movies than pretty much anyone I've ever met. So, in natural fashion, we're going to talk about some superhero movies. This top 10 list is the top 10 worst superhero movies ever made. And to start off the list, we're going to talk about number 10 being Ghost Rider. Now, if you don't remember this movie, count your blessings because it was just terrible. Nicolas Cage, first of all, isn't that great of an actor. I'm sorry if you like him, but this is Nick Cage at his worst. Completely shallow acting. Everyone had the depth of a piece of paper in that movie. The the CG was mediocre at best. The storyline was full of plot holes. It's just a terrible, terrible, terrible movie. So I highly advise you to never watch that movie. And we're just getting started. So enjoy.
All right, the next one on the list is Fantastic Four 2. The first one wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't good enough to make a sequel. The jokes are extremely stale in the movie. In the beginning, Stan Lee's like, "Hey, I'm supposed to be in the movie. I'm Stan Lee." So Stan Lee exists, and everyone knows Stan Lee. It just doesn't make any sense. And then the plot line is stupid. Johnny Storm gets touched by the Silver Surfer, and he gets everyone else's powers, and then they make tension between Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic, and it's like we know they're gonna end up in the end. Why are they giving us this tension? And then they bring Doom back, and he's weird, and there's just so many things wrong with the movie.
Number 8 brings us to Iron Man 2. Now, this movie, it served no purpose other than introducing characters for the Avengers. They added problems that didn't need to exist. They solved problems that they invented just because they were bored. It seemed like the people who were creating this movie just said, hey, let's see if we can make another few $1,000,000 before we have an Avengers movie. Let's introduce a couple people in here. We'll have Iron Man eating a donut on a donut. Oh, that's funny. It's just a piece of shit movie. Iron Man 3, whole nother story. Iron Man, awesome movie. Iron Man 2 is something that never should have been made.
Number 7 on the list is X-Men 3. This was the start of 2 bad movies for the X-Men, and you will see the next one very soon. They spoiler alert, they kill off like two of the better mutants. They kill Cyclops and they kill Professor X because they bring back the Phoenix. And if you don't know who the Phoenix is, it's Jean Grey, who, spoiler alert for another movie, she dies in the end of X-Men 2. They had a great opportunity to bring in one of the best storylines in comics, the Phoenix Saga, and they totally butchered it. They made it a sappy love story between Wolverine and Phoenix, and then they also brought in Colossus, who I love, but they give him like 2 lines and show him carrying TVs around. And then they spend a good 40 minutes showing Rogue bitch about how she wants to love people, and in the comics, Rogue wasn't bitching; she was a badass, and that's like the biggest quip about the original trilogy is Rogue is so boring, and hopefully they can make it better in future X-Men films. But X-Men 3 is a waste of time. And going on number 6, another 3, Spider-Man 3 signaled the end of the Sam Raimi franchise that produced 2 extremely well done Spider-Man films. And the third one, I don't know what went wrong. They brought in 3 villains. That it's a little overcrowding, but the Sandman he's a cooler villain, and then the Kid Goblin, which is just Harry Osborn trying to be his father. And I don't even remember the third one.
It was their take at Venom.
Oh, right, Venom. They chose Eric Foreman from that '70s show. When I think of Venom, I don't think of skinny Eric Foreman who gets bullied by Kelso. And then you got emo Harry, not emo Harry. Well, kind of. Everyone was emo in that movie. But Peter Parker does a little jazz walk down the street and dyes his hair black. And the Venom story is another great story in the Spider-Man series, but they butcher this one too, and whew, that was a bad one. And wow, another one for me here. X-Men Origins lands at number 5. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about this one. They really scraped the bottom of the barrel on the mutants. They had, everyone's favorite mutant, Wolverine. Who, I was pumped for this movie. X-Men Origins Wolverine. I get to watch Wolverine be his badass self. And then, they had Sabretooth, who they did a pretty cool storyline with it. And Liev Schreiber's an excellent actor. But they bring in Will.I.am, or William, for those of you who don't know how to say his name. He plays Blink, which is just a less cool version of Nightcrawler. And then they bring in Agent Zero, who can shoot really well. Yeah, that's been done before. And then there's the Blob, who's actually a pretty cool villain, but they made him sound like the guy from Silence of the Lambs. He puts the lotion on the skin, or else it gets the hose again. That's what I pictured when I watched the Blob flop around on screen. And then Wolverine's girlfriend pissed me off. There were so many things bad about this movie, and that's not mentioning the claws that were terrible CGI, and they flopped around when he moved. Overall, terrible film, and thank God they made First Class.
Yeah. Alright, going number 4 on the list is actually a 4. It's Superman 4: Quest for Peace. This movie is one of those movies where it's so bad, it should just be garbage. It's almost worth watching just to note how terrible this movie is. It was a low-budget superhero movie, which should never happen. If you have a low-budget superhero movie, don't make it, because it's not going to turn out well. It's full of, again, plot holes on top of plot holes. It has a supervillain that they just kind of made up. It was just kind of like this Superman-type guy wearing yellow. It's not really any sort of comic book villain that they had. He had some of the same powers as Superman, broke the Great Wall of China that Superman all of a sudden can fix with his eyes now. Blue lasers shoot out of his eyes, and all of a sudden bricks go back into place. I don't remember ever seeing that in any other portrayal of Superman, ever. Not to mention, there's a very specific scene that I love watching, where Superman is somehow getting leverage and pushing off things in space. He's spinning in a circle, and you can clearly see him walking in a circle, but he's in space. So that was just one of the many things that is horrible, horrible, horrible about this movie. So you have a couple hours to kill, and you feel like being entertained. It's kind of like Sharknado, where you just want to watch it to laugh at it. Jumping down the list, number 3 is Daredevil. I don't even know where to begin with this movie. It's just a garbage fest on top of another garbage fest. It was so bad that they made a sequel, Elektra, about it, which I won't even start with that. But this completely destroyed Ben Affleck as ever being a superhero, which makes me really nervous about the new Batman movies that are coming out. Because if he's anything like he was in Daredevil, God bless anybody who watches those Batman movies. Because he is just not anywhere near the badass level of Batman, let alone Daredevil. If you fail at Daredevil, why are you Batman? Number 2, you have Catwoman. This,
It's pretty much a low-grade porno.
pretty much, it's Halle Berry in spandex, purring all the time. It's perfect. I want to smack that bitch. It's cheesy fight scenes. It's worse than the Jackie Chan ones where you can see them counting while they're fighting. It's to the point where it's not even funny. You just feel sad for the director. Like, dude, I'm sorry that you have this on your resume. That's even worse than the Superman 4. You shouldn't even watch this because it'll just piss you off. It's not even entertaining. It's just sad.
All right, everybody, brace yourselves for number 1. And if you haven't seen this movie, you are one of the luckiest person on the face of the earth. If you don't know what movie I'm talking about, then you've clearly lived under a rock. Because Batman and Robin is the worst superhero film ever to have been made. Joel Schumacher, what the hell are you doing? Get the fuck out of Hollywood. You haven't made a good film ever. I don't think I've seen one good film. Number 23 was a decent movie at best. At best. But Batman and Robin, holy shit. I don't think I could have gotten past one scene without a pun. Everybody chill. Sing! Sing! As a kid, I loved this movie. I must have been a stupid-ass kid, because this movie is terrible. The only good thing about this movie is that it did so bad it started up a new franchise, which gave us some of the greatest films in cinematic history. And it killed Bane. You know, Bane. I don't think I've ever seen a comic where Bane is a moron. Bane is the intellectual genius that can match Batman move for move. But in this one, he is just Poison Ivy's sidekick who plants bombs. A bomb. And then he gets his shit kicked by clueless Batgirl, who they fucked that up. Batgirl is Jim Gordon's daughter, but Jim Gordon was such an enigma in the other Batman films that they were like, well, let's make her Alfred's cousin or whatever the fuck she was, because then she fits in the story, because it would make no sense if Gordon's daughter came to Batman. Yeah.
It's amazing how shitty a movie can be when it has George Clooney, Uma Thurman, Schwarzenegger. I mean, he's not a great actor, but
I don't know how any of these people have won Oscars after seeing this movie.
I don't know. Now you guys see why I brought him along. He knows his shit.
Yeah, it was a train wreck, and if you're ever looking for a good drinking game, if you want to get extremely hammered, grab yourself some shots, because you're going for a doozy. Yeah, so that's some of the shittiest movies I've ever watched.
So if you ever have a few hours to kill, go ahead and knock off some of these movies on your list and see if you agree with us. If you do agree with us, comment. If you don't agree with us, comment. Tell us any movies you think are a little too high, too low, any we snubbed, and let us know what you think. See you guys.